Down up. We're back to finishing Fontaine. Might as well. I'm gonna start with the star rail, but yeah. Let's go. The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervylette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legal... Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this.
Her personality at the start of this, before the Fontaine shenanigans is over, is quite agitating.
Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god.
No,
However,
most of the times they just don't make sense.
More than that to convict me of a crime.
Hi there, duck fucking another duck. Why are you fucking that duck? Oh yeah, the horse situation. I mean, sure. There's a couple other examples I can give you that fits on the same stream from different godly factions.
That's true.
Shut up, that's my job.
This is true, but my charges are related to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been an Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Astonished audience member. I just don't care what he has to say.
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted.
Charge accepted. Neuvillette now initiated auto mode.
Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty?
Sure, bro.
There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Hi, I, Focalor's, blah 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 blah. Words. Then your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric.
Yo, bro, I hate listening to the NPCs.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I have cause to believe that common sense
remember how I
will
hated this
prevail
part.
in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born.
Sure, bro.
See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its... If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
Yo, Neuvillette, you're just gonna let threats being made in a courthouse? It's not supposed to be that way, right? We're not supposed to be threatened in jurisdiction, dude. Say something.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
The people only see you as their Archon, because that's a long-held belief.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am? And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
Alright, I'll take you up on that one. How did I manage to live for over 500 years? I've got to think carefully. What do we know about to be special about Farina exactly?
Right. Oh, wait. The meeting with the knave during diplomatic... the meeting with the knave. During a diplomatic meeting with the knave, she revealed that she already probed Farina on her own and believes it's possible that not only is Farina not really the Archon, but that she is actually afflicted with some sort of curse. Select.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend your life.
Hi, we've been all across the vat at this point. We've met yokai that's lived for 500 years, like Miko. We've met people that gets has a snake nurse that coughs because they're slowly perishing over the 600-year-long period they've been alive by Zhu. And created people like Zhao, who's been alive for around about 500 years. And he's kind of fucked up and fucking dying slowly as well. And then there's Gan Yu, which is a yogai, and she's been alive this entire time as well.
Such as a curse.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave?
What matters is the veracity of the claim.
To use
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Neuvillette looks at her with that side eye. Like, bruh, I see you.
Neuvillette sensed it too, huh?
So Farina, instead of an Archon, could he just be a cursed human?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
No. That is a stupid fucking statement, bro. Unless we're talking Natlan, because Natlan is humans to Archon, not Archons to human. We are talking. Let's bring Zhongli for example. Nobody knew what he looked like until recently, because he always appeared as a dragon.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being?
Okay.
Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods.
That is a stupid example, and you know it. That is the most fucking stupid example, and I have multiple examples to refute this. As for some of the people we've met during our travels, i.e. the Yaksha, some of the fucking yokai that we met from Liyue, some of the yokai met in Inazuma, they have powers on the level of Archons. Some of them. And then there's the 7 witches. Let's not go further into this explanation here, you dumbass.
For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine.
Let's not even mention Mavuika, please. Jablanc.
One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very
Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal. Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal. Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal. Been a while.
Wait, that one child proved the opposite. Farina has no control over the Oratrice at all.
Yeah, it was a child, no? The Neuvillette believed child to be innocent. The Oratrice charged him as guilty, but even Farina didn't know why. Select.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Yeah, she kind of just let it go to the wayside, no?
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Yo, dude, by the way, Mrs. Justice, this is a fucking court. What type of statement are you trying to make here? Oratrice? Ram into Oratrice.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial.
Yeah, no shenanigans, no bullshit, and most certainly, no tomfoolery.
You will prove yourself
My
unable
jaw
to defend
clicked.
against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
This is the first time Neuvillette has ever been impartial. Shut up.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
Until they didn't with Child's trial. We're gonna respect it, right? Right? Bullshit.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having
Finish the
been
coffee.
created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
Hey, Paimon, hitting us with facts. She's putting straight facts. You will never have the voice again, Paimon. I'm just letting you know it's over. It's over, Paimon.
The real Hydro Archon. Well, now you're really losing me.
Yeah, I'm really losing you, human.
It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created.
Cap.
You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
Yeah, we can, because you have no means to know who made it. Are you gonna say you made it? Or are you gonna say some magical being before you who has an Archon made it? Shut up, woman.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
But then, Farina, could you give us a brief demonstration of your power as an Archon?
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
Like Faithy would, by sucking the air out of the room.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
A brief demonstration of our power of Archon, of your power of Hydro, should be quite harmless. Surely an Archon can at least match the capacities of a human with a vision.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium, yes! It's
Yes,
all because
words.
indemnitium.
Big words.
All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice
Into words. She converted them into words.
Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Cap.
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Now I'm with Suspicious Audio as member number 5.
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
I'm with Suspicious Audience number 4.
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Flimsy excuse, I would say.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar.
Are you not? Are you not?
I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe in me?
Even the Oratrice looking at you like, bruh.
Please?
Bruh.
You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Yes.
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back
That
their
does
claim to
not
be
count
such,
as a
then
claim,
what
you know that, right?
grounds have you
That
to
is
say
just
that I'm not
that is just
actually
grounding
the
our
real
previous. Hold up, shut up, woman. You yourself created a hole in your own counter argument, right? Everybody starts doubting you, and then you immediately like, then who is the real Hydro Archon? Tell me. At that point, we legitimately could say Nouvelette. If he said yes, it would still be true. We could say the previous Hydro Archon. It would still be true. I just feel like she just coming out with, who's the real one? Dude, that's not the question that you should be asking. Moreover, you should rather be asking something like, So, you guys are saying I do not have the powers of the Hydro Archon. And I said I've given it to the people. Now you need to prove when you gave it to the people. And when did they make a miraculous change? These are the questions, Farina. These are the questions.
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now?
If we can't prove that she isn't the Archon, can we try to prove that she's just a human? And if she's only a human...
I'm only human, after all. I'm only human. The truth behind the sealed spirit. It turns out spontaneous can be dissolved. Yeah, if we just gave her some dissolving goop, then maybe she'll be dissolved. Let's test it. Well, I remember all of this. I really enjoyed this quest.
Can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Navia don't have time to stop herself. She has done this multiple times at this point, and this angle makes her look like she has extra chin.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives.
16 people. It was 16 people.
Including those of some of my closest friends.
They are included in the 16 people.
So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of the seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching the seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
Shut up, NPC number 5.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
How much water did Navia bring?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
Yeah, she's quite terrified by the water.
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina.
What?
Hey!
She's actually...
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as
Then wouldn't the counter argument Lumine have is, if I put my hand in the water, neither would I turn?
thing in the world!
Like, if Lumine were to walk down right now and put her hand in it, she wouldn't turn either. That just means you're not from Fontaine.
Miss Siegewin? If you are present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewin? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewin.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Farina, even you didn't know who Cedrine was. The fucking assassin, Melusine woman that hides in the walls.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh wait, what did she just say? I didn't get dissolved! Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
That just means you don't know much about the water. The water doesn't inherently dissolve instantaneously. If you were placed fully immersed in it, you might be dissolved. And if you were to drink it in large quantities, you might dissolve.
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Battle against the sea. Of which it would be under the sea. Under the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness.
Like Sijuin just came straight out of the underground prison. She's like, get to take a break from Meripede, the fortress of Meripede. The bright skies, the sunshiny day, the beautiful flowers, and the water that's rising.
It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe... You...
But what's really going on here? Farina can't have not known the consequences of touching the water as a human. This is too unlike how she usually acts. Unless it's actually more important for her to keep her facade than to save her own life. But hadn't she given up on everything a long time ago?
Listen to me! Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks! What happened just now didn't prove a single thing!
Sure it doesn't.
Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater?
Whatever you say, Rammus.
Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water?
That's exactly why we're proving you're human. Because most Archons don't even have proper fucking human emotions. Zhongli would sacrifice the whole of Liyue if it was part of a deal that he accepted, just to make sure that his deal as the deal of Archon God would go through. Am I wrong here? Raiden, over the fate of eternity, knew she was in the wrong, but was like, as long as it don't affect eternity. This, what I just said, woman, shows that you are human. Because if you were really all on the side of justice, Tartaglia wouldn't have gone to prison. Full stop. I rest my case. You may arrest the Nouvellette.
Please, everyone.
The tears alone.
Just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
Whatever you say, Raymond. The person hurt the most in this entire situation is Nouvellette. Nouvellette's like, damn bitch, I believed in you.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina to win.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
Right. Dun, 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 dun. Play Danganronpa music. Wait, can I go into options menu? I'd like to switch some music off. We're playing Danganronpa music.
We'll now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is...
guilty.
Guilty.
We will now reconstruct the case live in front of all of you. By placing it in a manga that you can all read. Like in Danganronpa.
We shall now turn to the Oratrice
Mechanique d'analyse cardinal to render the final verdict on the charges. Wait, that's the ticket for the story. That's hilarious.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice
Mechanique d'analyse cardinal.
Well, what's What's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
It can't be. The Oratrice just declared Farina to be innocent.
No. The Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
To death, I say! To be hanged!
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
Clearly, doubtful audience member number 5. You were mistaken.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
What a twist!
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us.
Did we not? Okay, guys, you're all tripping here. We clearly shown that Farina's not the Archon. So no, it said Hydro Archon death sentence, not Farina the human death sentence.
How did things escalate this quickly?
0 to 100, nigga.
This outcome is indeed quite strange.
I'm black.
According
It's
to
fine.
Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yes.
Yeah! Even Vache wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial...
The difference is that Farina has been lying for over 500 years.
What's more strange is, instead of Farina, the Oratrice rendered judgment to the Hydro Icon.
Icon, yes.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon.
Off with their heads!
Excuse me, if I may interrupt.
Yeah, the water's rising. I believe everyone needs to evacuate. We are now going to Mondstadt.
Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume this means you've completed your mission?
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top priority.
Shut up, Android 18. With some help from the other Fatui, Fremine brings a stone.
That the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea.
Under the sea!
It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water.
Okay, Android 18, continue.
But has the trial already concluded? Then doesn't that mean I've come too late? Oh no.
Dr. Jerome will be disappointed in me.
Don't worry, the mystery hasn't been resolved yet.
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate.
Please allow me to look at the pictures on the slate. Pictures. Oh. Wow.
Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates. I would like you to come.
You would like me to come?
Man, I take a deep breath in for that one.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
This looks like the previous Hydro Archon releasing a divine power, turning oceanids into human beings.
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
Yes, Paimon, the real one. I am Lumine.
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
An association between the contents of the slates and the events in real life.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paimon will do her best to help you remember.
Paimon not gonna do shit. Paimon not gonna do shit. Shut up, Paimon, you're not helping. Shut up, Paimon. Go get a new voice. Go get a new voice. Yeah, I know how to do this. I even remember what is going on. Right.
The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon.
The seal disappearances, the Vache, bruh, that turn people into goop.
Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, but the second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin.
And that sin requires death.
The original sin and the Hydro Archon sin are the same thing?
We know about how Celestia usually approaches sin. You have sinned, now you die.
The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else?
Navia sunk into the bottom of under the sea.
Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and
The rising seawater.
we didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
Yes, that, the Duke, Riosley himself, has been trying his fucking best to block it off. But even his ice baby wasn't enough. Yeah, I can get it. Number 1.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea, but
Dun, dun,
to exist, their essence will flow in the sea water,
Dun, dun,
converge, and take the form of an ocean.
dun, dun.
The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins.
Bro, I know every Danganronpa song out of heart.
She was surrounded by and a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Merope was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter The stone slate's contents will all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truths should come to light. Gets it now, so that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
I can't wait for folks alone to get executed.
The first slate reveals that Fontanians are not real humans.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vache dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
The second slate reveals that the crime of the Hydro Archon was a creation of Fontanians from Oceanids.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
I just say that, Paimon.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
As for the third slate, I'm convinced that it should come after the fourth slate.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate?
The fourth slate depicts the fulfillment of the prophecy as it's widely known.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Wait, how does the other Danganronpa song go? Reach for the stars, I'm so high. Reach for the stars, here's my dick. That's not how it goes, but similar enough.
Did Paimon get all that right?
Yes, Paimon. You said exactly what I just said.
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source.
When
we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth.
Right. Let me just touch this picture over here. Really loving the image. Oh no, I'm proud.
Well? Did you get it?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you.
Alright.
Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct.
Yes!
In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the union of her Oceanic familiars for life on land.
I want the actual song.
The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontaines were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the
So the true history of an original sin is appropriation? Cultural appropriation? Is that what we're going with here?
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me.
I mean, we were all fish before turning into human beings, so we'll show up.
Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Yep. I've had no questions so far, therefore it answered none of my questions, but I had none.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the 3rd and 4th stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct.
What is a 3rd slate supposed to represent then?
A key point of the visual on the 3rd slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanid. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of Trials and Justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate.
A fate to become into an Oceanid. You're too kind! Your kindness is guilty! You're guilty of being too kind!
Therefore, the meaning of the 3rd slate is...
Someone's guilty of being too kind?
That the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at at the Court of Justice.
Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation.
Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy,
we in turn fulfill the prophecy. This is why you need to think wide-minded here,
exactly
big brain time.
Foretold.
Stop being so narrow fucking minded.
We're the ones making sure it comes true.
What should we do?
It feels like there's no way out of this.
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled. Is this what it feels like to be a prisoner of fate?
Whatever you say, Nejiuga.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes?
Indeed, indubitably so.
However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come.
Oh no! Go brain!
As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before.
Wait, could it be the abyss?
Right, fighting time. Oh, no fighting time? Right.
This eruption was just a small warning of the things
Dun,
to come.
dun, dun.
We must find the root cause of the disaster.
Dun, dun, dun. It's the abyss, bro. It's the abyss. No. No. That one.
It was both dream and reality.
Time to fight, boys. Get ready.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
Yes, Skug's big ass pit.
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Right. Just come to think of it, that means Tortalia, the whale, literally found him to play a game. That's hilarious. And it also throws him around as much as Skug does. You mean? Ah, Tortalia. We haven't stopped playing our game! Man, Tortalia's Harbinger form looks so fucking cool, man. But they made it so weak because of power scaling. Teamwork! Can we fight him now? I think I might have to fight him in the next video. The breakdown. Break.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
Yes, that was Queso.
That's right. And was it also the one the child saw when he was young?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while.
While it searches for friends, aka Tortalia.
It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels.
That fucking big ass whale.
And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be.
Under the sea.
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist.
I do find Clorenda and Navia unresistible.
Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
And the dragon known as Duvalet, who doesn't have all his power, but had he had all his power, that whale wouldn't stand a chance.
We just
I'm being
barely
transparent.
managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner.
You owe him an apology. I'm waiting.
From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
I realize the more I think about it, the more I can say, without a doubt, Tartaglia is the best dude in the game. Like, he's a couple main male characters. Ito gets annoying after a while, but Tartaglia, his whole "we're frenemies" is kind of hilarious.
That battle maniac.
Except for his fucking brother, bro. That event made me want to choke a bitch.
Didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to beat it up, right?
It is too late.
Oh no! What do you mean?
It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself.
Under the sea?
Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
That's not something I will accept.
What are you gonna do about it? You sound like an idiot, Navia. Shush, shush, shoo. Be gone.
We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe. That's just not fair.
Navia, you sound like an idiot right now. All we have to do is kick its ass. Shing! I swear, whale, you are my final opponent in Fontaine before I go to that land.
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should end.
Ugh, Fontanians.
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go, Cloran. Let's leave them behind.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
I'm gonna fight it in the next video. This video was long.
Prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view things such as the history of the future.
After everything, it still turned out like this. We couldn't fight against fate. I am Lumine. Wait, but if this is all about fate, we need a Naruto.
You are my friend! Just as prophecies are usually only the future, as seen from the perspective of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where God's gaze does not fall? Ultimately, fate shall serve as only a guide no matter what will happen in the fate's future. All you need to do is play your part.
Could it be that even the prophecy will be fulfilled? There's still a way to save everyone. Did I miss something? I'm Lumine? Wait.
I forgot about Farina. What was it she wanted to say to me at the last moment? The giant magic box? What is a real secret?
Let me go. Let me go. Let me go. I don't want to be here anymore. Let me go, let me go.
What's happening with the origin?
I want to run away and slam the door. I don't care about Fontanians. The shit must end. Drown them bitches.
No, I still need answers.
Choo choo. Choo 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 choo. Fighting time. Ah, that's hot. That's hot. I can do a pull. Skirk. Give me a fucking early game. Come on. One early on a single pull. You've never done it before. Well, done it a couple of times on the second account. But on the main account, it's never happened. Feet.
You.
The most natural laugh you're ever gonna hear from Farina.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You do make me want to give you head pats. That's what Lumine meant by an itching hand.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
And why do I want to give you head pats?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Yes, I do know. And you have sinned. Therefore, as the judge, I am here to declare punishment. Execution is execution.
Focalor, why did you deceive us?
Why are we still here? Just to suffer. Every night I can feel my arm and my leg, the body of
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It always comes back down to Celestia, doesn't it?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded.
Well, maybe we should just leave it flooded and take everyone to Mondstadt. That seems like a better course of action.
One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it?
Well, if Natlan has anything to say about it, they go through that every Tuesday.
She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril.
Can I just make a contradiction to what you're saying? The seven witches. They break that shit like it's toothpick. They break that shit every Tuesday.
So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in.
As Lumine always says,
that's a Tuesday for me.
I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum.
Words.
I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least.
Can you just meet Lumine once?
At the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor.
Can you stop glazing? Seriously, put the fries in the bag.
Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the
Tuesday for me
duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up.
In other words, because Egeria decided to be more than what she was, she created a problem almost unsolvable, which you solved. Good going, Focalor.
But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known.
Figaro!
After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina.
So just like Rukkhadevata, you decided to have a baby with a droplet of water. In Rukkhadevata's case, she had a baby with a tree.
She could feel joy, sorrow,
where the females are impregnating the
She could
tree
be as
and
vain
droplet of
and
water.
conceited,
It's a confusing situation.
or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be.
Can I just say this, right? The story of Fontaine is so much better than Natlan. And it has mainly to do with the fact that Natlan feels like there's no... Even the tension feels wish-washy. Like, whenever there's a serious situation, it comes down to friendship will solve everything. And it's true. Every time there's a serious situation, they're like, if we group together, we can solve anything. When people are dying and shit. So, it makes the tension feel strange. Whereas here, we have extreme amounts of tension, a plan that nobody knew about, and if the plan succeeds, everyone is saved regardless, a prophecy that gets fulfilled and altered, and no sort of Deus Ex Machina that comes up at random.
Anyway, so that
Well, I mean, this would be Deus Ex Machina that came up at random.
all part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy.
Before we continue, and this, I'm gonna get serious right now. This is the Duashnes Naya that's coming out in 6. So, if we're gonna have Snezhnaya, right? Firstly, they're not gonna be friendly. That's a must. If they are friendly to Lumine and Paimon, it's a ruse. Thirdly, it should be we should start heading now to the conclusion. We need to know what's happening. We need Lumine to start, the sibling to start coming to action, start explaining shit to us. Because I didn't play the latest story part yet, but I'll get to it. Maybe I should do it on some Dania. I'm interested now. Genshin, every time I play Fontaine, it makes me love Genshin Impact again. Every video I've done so far for Fontaine has made me love this game again. But the issue lies in one thing. Why the fuck are we playing Candy Crush in events? Give me combat. Give me more trials. Something, bro. I don't want to be playing Candy Crush. Honey Pop was cool because at least I got to see some titties. You're not giving me in-game titties in this game, alright?
Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness.
What, you saying she is as a child in some sort of zombie virus?
Instead,
that's a Will Smith joke.
to take the stage.
Keep my Farina's name out your fucking mouth.
The role of leading lady. To forever play the part of the god from the prophecy. All to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass.
Indeed, indubitably, sir.
I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
The Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she?
She's only human after all. She's only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Wow. Wow, it's like they listened to that song while they were writing this. They listened to that song. She was like, rather writing this.
Even though she has had a
I'm
long
only
life,
human.
her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years.
Yes, and I would walk 500 years, and I would walk 500 more.
And all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Cutscene? Bro, I'm done with Fontaine after this. That's crazy.
I came into contact with Farina's tears. If I remember correctly, tears often contain a being's strongest emotions.
Is she some sort of phoenix now?
With sufficiently strong hydrosensitivity, I can form emotional connection, just like I did with the oceanid in Fontaine of Lucine. Wait, could this be Farina's inner world? Headbats! Farina, what's she doing on stage? Wait a moment, that probably isn't Farina. It's likely a reflection of her inner self. If I can directly speak to that self, I may be able to easily get what I wanted to know. I came here for answers. Either way, this opportunity is not to be missed. Let me try talking to her and give headbats.
Give me a moment to breathe. Fuck, bro. Man, I'm actually tired. Are we doing? Can we do a pull? Bro, we can't even do it. We can't even do it. Fucking. We're gonna do this in the next video. I am gonna finish it right now, but this part will be in the next video. Because I need to check if I have enough space. This is your man, I will cringes. Once you like, subscribe, smack your face with the keyboard a couple of times, tell notifications always. Don't forget to check out our links in the description, especially our main channel. Our main channel is Twisted Gamers. I'm playing a variety of games, and yeah, pray for me.
And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
Alright, I'll take you up on that one. How did I manage to live for over 500 years?